Chapter 6 Shrill Fest. As I walked into the schoolhouse, I found a long hallway with an old smell to it. The walls were green painted plaster with a faded white ceiling plaster and what looked like cathedral ceilings with a big archway in a semicircle. The halls had once had lockers along the sides, but the metal was removed. Now there were just holes in the walls where there were big empty channels. The big empty, I called it. The sounds of music permeated the air. Jam bands, I was right. I hoped to see Ant by the bandstand. I walked into one room and then another room. All had the same type of walls, green, white, cracks in them. And then I walked into one of the classrooms. There were 5 open classrooms. And I beheld something I've never seen in my dreams. A pile of weed on the floor that must have been a few hundred or 1,000 pounds. There was a big sign saying, "Take what you need, return what you don't." There was a desk with a big jar of roaches, half burned or almost burned joints, half smoked joints, and blunts, rolled and unsmoked blunts. I grabbed a few of them. The next room had a similar pile of shrooms, the next coke, the next dope. So I guess they didn't discriminate here. It was a drug bonanza. Ecstasy, Molly, anything you could think of. There was a mosaic on the floor, made of pills, all different makes and colors. It was set up as a sunset. Very pretty. Must have taken a while. There were other patrons there as well. And there was a road jammed with trucks, cars, beer trucks, a huge generator truck. I saw it all from the window. As I was looking at the mosaic, I glanced and saw it. I lit the blunt and took a drag, trying to get in the mood. Unbeknownst to me, there was a tiny worm I couldn't see or feel in the blunt, and when I took my hit, it entered my body, found its way past my lungs into my bloodstream where it sat. I walked into the main band room, found a couch. The room had couches and beanbag chairs everywhere. I sat and watched this band play. They had a really long set, and the couch was very comfy. I sat for a few hours, still no Anthony. There were girls using hula hoops and kids dressed in costumes. They were doing some kind of weird dance. And it just seemed like the day was just stretching. It was really good weed. I could feel the room. It looked like the room was stretching. And then I saw what looked like an odd blue smoke was filling the room from both sides. It poured in like if it was liquid. It came in across the floor, and then it expanded until it was everywhere. And then I wasn't there anymore. I found myself on a beach. I was looking at the sea, but it wasn't Earth. There were 4 stars in the sky. 2 were yellow main sequence stars, and 2 O-type stars. Very, very bright, but very little heat. The ground was so strange. Everything was strange, and it had a strange ear to it. Off in the distance I could see a mountain range, and one very huge crystal sitting in the ocean. I guess it was the ocean, and it had a blue glow. And then I got bitten on the arm by a mosquito. I moved to kill it, and the beach was gone. I was back on the couch, but the bands were gone. The room was dark. and the couch was rotted out and covered with bugs. Ugh! I said as I jumped up and I wiped them off my body. My heart was beating hard. What the fuck just happened? The blood had burned down to my fingers. I must have been there for a while. My face was wet. When I touched my face, there was blood on my hands. What happened? How did I get here? What's going on? Hello? Hello? Where'd everybody go? Hello? Hello? But no one answered. Now my heart was pounding. What happened? The blood had burned down my fingers? Nosebleed? I found my way to a bathroom and looked in the mirror. I had blood all down my face and tiny worms there too. I looked at it, at one of them anyway. It glowed blue and then stopped and turned to dust in my hand. What the fuck is going on here, I'm thinking. I walked out of the bathroom back into the arched hallway. I heard music off in the distance, but it wasn't band. It sounded like a radio. I walked out of the school. It was midday. I must have passed out. But the blood, why had I hemorrhaged? I seen Jacob. He was wandering around without purpose, it seemed. I approached him. What's up, Jacob? He turned and looked at me. How do you know my name? Don't you remember you welcomed me to Shrill Fest? Shrill Fest? What's that? This music festival, but my buddy Anthony, I know he's in the caves till 3 bells, you said. He had a look of fear on his face. I have no recollection of that. We were hitchhiking in Maryland and a bus with a odd blue light stopped to give us a lift. It was pouring out and it was full of folks and they all had on these glowing blue crystals. I said, you mean like the one you're wearing? It was not glowing though. Jacob ripped the necklace off and ran into the woods without another word. All of a sudden, there he goes, gone. Then I noticed all these people around me chasing him into the woods. I'm like, what the fuck kind of shit is this? Some big guy comes up to me and puts his hand on my shoulder, and it hurt. Picks me up onto my feet and says, what did you say to Jacob to make him run away like that? I just shrugged, as I had no clue either. The big guy was wearing a crystal which was glowing. I'm starting to notice that there's some sort of correlation between the behaviors and the crystals. I started looking for the path to get the fuck out of here. But the blunt had made me very, very hungry. I stepped up to the pavilion to eat. They had some kind of soup and burritos. I ate and got the biggest food coma ever. And luckily for me, they had a tent aptly named Food Coma Land. Filled with beds, I checked for bed bugs, something my wife taught me. When I entered, they asked me what I ate, then gave me a crystal necklace, and we got our nap time. I passed out hard. And I woke up in my motel room. What the fuck? How'd I get here? There was a knock at the door. Yeah, hang on a second. I get out of bed. I walk to the door. I open the door. It's Anthony. Dude, what's up? I missed you last night. Had I dreamed the entire thing? But no. I had a crystal on, and it was glowing. Did you try the food in the fridge I left for you? I glanced up at the door. The room number was 105. M. Chapter 6.